Hello, I'm about to drink probably my last wet hop beer of the season. I guess they call it fresh hop, but I think wet hop is being a little bit clearer. So it's from Tilted Barn, Littlefield. Littlefield is what, like, about a year ago they decided was going to be like their year-round sort of flagship IPA. Tilted Barn's from Exeter, Rhode Island. I actually visited a year ago. It's 6.3% alcohol, and this was canned exactly a month ago on October 8th. And it uses wet Idaho 7 hops, they said. Um, and I'm not sure, I can't remember where they're from. But I think this beer is usually Citron Idaho 7. And I think I had it on draft at the brewery and I thought it was pretty good, but I didn't, I think that's the only time I've had it. Um, but I love my wet hops, so they made a special one where I don't know if, I think they just mentioned the Idaho 7 being a fresh slash wet hop. Um, but let's just get to it. Tilted Barn makes a lot of kind of like cleaner but more bitter hazy IPAs. At least for the New England area, their beers are quite dry and bitter. And it's got a little bit of color to it. And not ultra hazy. But most breweries aren't doing this where they sort of make a wet hop flagship. Because I assume it's hard to use the wet hops where like there's so much of it is liquid and chlorophyll and all the stuff that isn't in the normal hops that people use, dried hops or pelletized hops usually. Um, so just getting all of these hops that are mostly moisture, how do you figure out the recipe? As opposed to hops that are no moisture. But head looks pretty nice. It's a little bit dark. Hopefully it's not oxidation or anything. Interesting. I don't know if I've had wet hop Idaho. Idaho 7 is not my favorite hop. I find it be a little bit like mintier, Ricola-y, which is in there. But this has, I think it has some of that special floral chlorophyll-y wet hop stuff, but it does go away pretty fast. Like, I wish I could have got this earlier, but it looked like it didn't get shipped around here until like less than 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and what I've realized this year with the wet hop beers I've had, mainly the wet hoppy beers, pale ale, IPA, is there's a melon note, kind of a watermelon note to it. And this has that when I really inhale it, and I love that. Yeah, but then it's kind of just like classic Tilted Barn character that's a bit yeah, a bit green and earthy and bitter. Kind of, they have a little of a West Coast like type thing going on. Hmm. Yeah, it's more mild in bitterness and like dankness than the regular Little Field, but then it has this like melony kind of juicier thing. It might be a little bit lighter bodied, but I don't mind it. And it finishes pretty dry, and has a pretty nice feel. But I think the regular Littlefield, it might have a bit more classic haze and hop saturation. But I'm happy that I'm noticing the wet hop notes because that's what I'm here for basically. I think that they did a pretty good job for trying to make a wet hop flagship beer. Um, yeah, it's not nearly as sweet as like Born Yesterday. Lagunitas is a wet hop one, but that one's now a little bit older, so I've stopped buying it. Even though I did buy like a whole case and shared it with friends, but that was really good. But now I'm just like, I've had enough of it. This is a lot drier. I feel like if it was had more sweetness, it might bring out more of those melony notes. Yeah, it's kind of like herbal watermelon, like watermelon with. I guess people do mint watermelon salads and stuff. Oh, there's a little bit of bitterness coming in now. But yeah, maybe it's like a watermelon salad with a bunch of mint thrown on there, and maybe some orange zest. They don't really describe it that much here. They say it's just the same little field recipe we all know and love, but features hops picked within hours of being added to the tanks. Yeah, so I read what the more specific description on social media, and I've forgotten it, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's mostly just the Idaho 7 that's the wet hop. And yeah, it seems like I finally found a connection between all of the wet hops. There's this melony note. There you go. Did I get any more haze? There's no chunks or anything. Any sediment? Oh, there is some sediment in there. Let's see if we can get some of that in there. Yeah, with the sediment, sometimes you gotta be careful. If you swirl around, you might get a lot of gross looking worm poop chunks that you don't want to drink. It can make your beer harsh, but also you want to make sure that it's not so much sediment that it's just you're losing some of those flavor crystals and things. And there's a lot of aromatic compounds that can't stay in a clear solution of just the liquid. They can only be in the beer if it's on proteins and stuff. It's bound to those. So that's why hazy beers, they literally have higher concentrations of certain aromatic compounds that in ways you can't have them in clear beers. So that's why if you get some hazy IPA and you drink it really fresh, it's really good, and you go back a month later, beyond the oxidation, if all the haze falls to the bottom, it's not going to be nearly as good. And you might be able to get some of that back. That looks like we actually there's a little bit of sediment now. It's pretty good. I bet they could figure out how to do this even better next year. Last year I got their normal wet hop IPA that they call I can't remember the name for it, but that was a little bit more of a traditional IPA, not the classic Tilted Barn style, and that one was really good. I did a review of it, but this review is getting a little too long. Yeah, now it's getting a little bit more green, minty. I'm still tasting the melon notes, but they're kind of subtle. Well carbonated after burp. Excuse me. But I would say this is a really good kind of combo of their style and the wet hops, but it's not really bold and in your face with either of them. I mean, it's still a very strong, flavorful beer, but it's not. It's sort of balanced, I guess, in the wet hop and the haze character. But I like it. And it's definitely unique. A little hard to rate. Now it's getting more perfumey and getting more complex. This is probably one of those ones where you have to let it warm up, and there'll be more interesting notes coming out. Yeah, this is a little bit too cold. But this review's gone on too long anyways, and no one's probably going to be able to find this beer anyways, too. So, that's it. Bye.